Time for the business news next on the program, and we can say good morning to Brian Quinn. Good to see you.
Hello.
Now, you're starting here in France, where the government is about to unveil its plan to reform the national rail company.
That's right. Prime Minister Edouard Philippe expected to announce that plan for the SNCF later today. France's railway industry will be facing increasing foreign competition starting in 2020 as an EU trade liberalization program takes effect. Now, unions are already pushing back against the government's plans, though. Emerald Maxwell reports.
Getting ready to face foreign competition. The government wants to transform the SNCF, France's national state-owned railway company, in time for 2020, when the country's rail network will open up to foreign companies. The string of changes would address rail workers' special status, a status that means staff have a virtual job for life, and many can retire between 50 and 55. Small lines could also be permanently closed, and the company's status as a protected public enterprise could evolve. Plenty of red flags for unions, who have called for a national strike on the 22nd of March.
What the government is doing, forcing through reforms without discussion, without identifying real problems, is likely to make things worse.
The government wants to move fast and hasn't excluded bypassing Parliament to push through the more controversial parts of the reform.
It's a possibility, but not right now. Our priority is to present the Prime Minister's strategy. It's an ambitious plan for a big state-owned company.
Put on the spot by an SNCF employee at the French agricultural show, Emmanuel Macron didn't back down.
My grandfather was a rail worker, and he didn't have the same life you have today. That's just not true. So we can't keep paying. It's the taxpayer who pays for rail workers at the moment. We can't have farmers who can't take holidays, who can't retire, and say, no, we can't reform the status of rail workers.
The Prime Minister will present the reforms and their timetable on Monday.
Turning now to the world of consumer tech, and the world's biggest mobile phone show is currently underway in Barcelona.
That's right. The annual Mobile World Congress officially kicks off today, but Samsung got a head start on Sunday. The Korean electronics giant unveiled its new flagship smartphone, the Galaxy S9, intended to compete with Apple's iPhone X. The Galaxy S9 is aimed at the youth market with features geared towards social media and augmented reality. Samsung says it hopes to sell 43 million of the new phones. That's a tall order, as global smartphone sales have fallen some 9% in the most recent quarter. Unlike the iPhone X, some industry watchers say the new phone may not be enough of an upgrade from the previous model.
Essentially, the S9 isn't massively different cosmetically to the S8. To an uneducated consumer, they'll look at it and think it looks similar. So Samsung really needed to land some key features like the camera, like the sound, like the emojis and all those things to make people realize that it is a step up from the last model.
Time to get a check on the markets next. Brian, how have they opened up the week?
Well, European indexes opening in positive territory as investors look ahead to earnings reports and inflation data out of the U.S. this week. London's FTSE 100 up nearly 0.4%. CAC 40 here in Paris up just a bit more. Frankfurt DAX just over the flat line at the open. Asian indexes mostly rising following Wall Street up after its winning Friday session. Tokyo's Nikkei closing up 1.2% as tech stocks and financials gained ground. The Kospi in Korea gaining around 0.25%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng up 0.75%, and the Shanghai Composite up 1.25%. Well, let's take a look at some more of today's top business headlines. Chinese automotive conglomerate Geely has built a $9 billion stake in Daimler in a push to share electric vehicle technology. Geely now owns nearly 9.7% of the German auto giant. Its executives are looking to meet with Daimler leaders and German government officials this week after announcing the acquisition. And the latest round of talks for renegotiating the North American Free Trade Agreement got underway Sunday in Mexico City. Negotiators are hoping to finalize the less contentious parts of the deal, clearing the path for politicians to work out the toughest issues ahead of upcoming elections. The major sticking point remains rules of origin for auto parts destined for the U.S. market.
Finally, for business and from Brian, now as the fight for gun control heats up in the United States, companies there are being told pick a side.
That's right. With the Never Again movement of U.S. students against gun violence gaining momentum, U.S. companies and financial leaders are increasingly severing ties with the country's powerful gun industry. Over the weekend, Delta and United Airlines both announced they would be ending their discount programs for members of the National Rifle Association. The airlines join a host of other companies cutting ties with the powerful gun lobby group. MetLife Insurance, First National Bank of Omaha, and a number of car insurance firms have done likewise. Activists have said such discount partnerships encourage membership in the NRA, which uses its dues to fight gun control policy, which is supported by a majority of Americans.
I didn't even know members of the NRA did get travel discounts.
It's true. They did.
Well, they did. Brian, thank you very much for that. Brian